Welcome, this is the Haku Dude, and this is Saturday Subjects. The subject for today is EDC books, and it's not books about how to get the best knife or how to get the best pouch. It's a book more about what you need to have and how you're going to use what you have. I've listed 10 books. There's obviously hundreds of books that you could choose from. These are much more philosophical books than they are about buying a specific product. I'll give you an example. Here's a book that pretty much everyone should read at some point in time. This book, like a lot of my books, are from the 1980s. Some of them are even from the 70s, but this is a good book to read. And I'll talk about this book in this video. So that's an example of a book, and that's a little more serious. I also have some books that are fun, that help you think about and prepare. This book is one of those books. It is a very nice book. It is a fairly funny book, but it's also a good informational book. Once again, for preparing and what you might want to use. Now, since I limited myself to 10, there were a lot of good books that were left off. One of the good books that I think that were left off, and I can name a bunch, was this book here, this SAR book. I was a member of a SAR group when I was younger, and this was our basic book that we all read and talked about. Those are some of the things that you'll hear me discuss today. I'm also going to just let you know a few things that are happening. It's getting cold where I am. For December, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I'm not exactly sure what the giveaway is about, but I'm putting some stuff together that I have it's used that I will be giving away. I'll give it away just all in one video. In December, I'm going to be doing a few best of 24 things. They're not going to be your typical best stuff. They're going to be a little bit unusual, and I'll just give you that hint. And the last thing is, I'm also thinking about doing a prediction show for our 2025. I've got a few things that I've been reading, that I've been researching, and I've got a few interesting predictions about everyday carry for 2025. It is going to be a new, interesting year with the potential of tariffs, with the potential of different kinds of materials coming in to play, and also with the expanding nature of everyday carry. So with that in mind, please like, subscribe. I love your comments. I look at every comment. If I can do something better, please let me know. I really want to get this right. So let's get everything started. Boom. This is the best, or one of the best EC books for all time, the official Boy Scout Handbook. This book here, I think this one I got in the 1980s. I was a Boy Scout in the 60s and 50s. If you see at the back of this particular book, it goes through everything from axemanship, backpacking, learning about birds, nature, silent signals, sign language, semaphores. So you get things about animals. You get stuff about how to use different things like knives, axes, what to do when you're hiking, some knot tying in information, weather. It is a really good source of information. You are prepared. If you read this through and understand what's here, you are going to be prepared for most that happen in your life, both positive and negative. It is a good book about learning about ecology. It is a great book about learning about citizenship. I know that there are parts of that, when I say that people just don't understand how it is and how people can use this book to be better citizens, how people can use this book to be better ecological wise with people to survive in a variety of environments. This is the official Boy Scout Handbook. If you don't have one, get one, read it. It is a very good book, especially I think the ones in the 80s and 90s are probably among the best books about how to become a person, a man or a woman, that there is, the official Boy Scout Handbook. How it might relate to your current EDC, think about the skills that are in here of how to handle knives, how to handle axes, how to look at plants, how to start a fire. That's what's in here. That's what you need to know to have good EDC principles. The Tom Brown Field Guide to City and Suburban Survival. Well, I've read every book that Tom Brown has written. As you can tell here, let me get this in focus. He's written quite a few books. His most famous one is The Tracker, which is a book that I read in the 1980s and actually went out and took a course from Tom Brown. This book has a great influence on me. I came to the EDC world from the outside world, backpacking world. And Tom Brown's Field Guide to Wilderness Survival, not this book, but the one on wilderness, is really a comprehensive written book by Tom Brown. He's a renowned tracker and wilderness survival expert. The guide provides advice and techniques for surviving in the wilderness, including finding food and water, building shelters, making fire, and navigating without a map or compass. That's without one. This book is a subset of that. And this book is great for people who are looking for EDC, mostly in urban or suburban areas. Let's talk about body and mind, which is really important in EDC. Shelter, water, heat, light, food, crime, weather. This book was written in the 1980s, but it is still relevant today. How this relates to your everyday carry is that the skills and knowledge from this guide will enhance your EDC by preparing you for the unexpected things that happen around you, whether they're in an urban area, a suburban area, or in the wilderness. It really does prepare you. And additionally, it'll get you to understand how to find things like foraging for food, tracking animals. By incorporating what Tom Brown talks about, especially the mental part of it, you will be more prepared. You will be better able to use your everyday carry devices. The Spotter's Guide to the Weather is an oldie but goodie, like a lot of my books there in the older time frame, in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. This book really helps you understand the weather around you. If you're going to be out for any length of time, it'll help you to look at the sky and say it is going to rain for how long, thunderstorms. It also prepares you for the situations around you about what might happen, where to go for shelter, and how to prepare for heavy winds, tornadoes, hurricanes, those kinds of things. This is the Spotter's Guide to the Weather. Yes, we all have cell phones that give us the weather, even watches that give us the weather very well. But I think understanding the weather and understand what the weather might be like is a great advantage to your everyday carry. This is a good book to read and just use as reference. As you can tell, there are other books in this series. Besides the weather, there's horses, ponies, shells, night sky, rocks, materials, trees, wildflowers, and birds. I loved it when I would be hiking. I could predict the weather and feel more comfortable about where I was going and what I was doing. The Handbook of Knots by Maria Costantino. Now, there are lots of knot books. There's probably, you go to a library, you can pick up 15 or 20 of them, and I breezed through a few of them myself, but this is my favorite one. This knot book is really a comprehensive guide to tying and using various knots. I like the layout of this book. It is laid out, you can tell by on this side here, it talks about stopper knots, binding knots, bends and knots, and it gives you very good, big, large illustrations of how to tie the knots and why you might want to use those particular knots here. It is a step-by-step guides and illustrations here. If you go through this book, what I tell people, you only have to know about 4 or 5 knots really well, and then you can implement them. We who use EDC, we have a lot of cords around with us a lot of times. We have a lot of ropes. We need to be able to tie things off. We need to be able to untie things very well. I know people who carry 20, 25 feet of paracord. I ask them to tie a couple of knots and they go, well, I can do this knot, I can do that, but I can't do a Flemish knot, for instance. This is a book that will help you understand knots, get better at knots. The one thing that this book isn't as good at, that I think that I will put somewhere here as an honorable mention, is that while this ties knots well, there's a whole series of books how to tie shoelaces. And the number of people that think that there's one way to tie a shoelace is quite a bit. If you have foot problems, blisters, toes that are cramped, blood circulation issues to your feet, there are different ways of tying a shoe that can be very helpful. I know this. I worked in a place where we sold shoes, mostly backpacking and running shoes, and I would talk to people quite a bit about tying their shoes differently. I'm going to find that book and I'm going to add it to the list in the link here. But this is Knots, and it's by Mario Costantino. It is a great book. I highly recommend that you get this particular book. I'm just going to blast this one across the whole screen. The American Red Cross First Aid book. That is still the best book for first aid coverage. Yes, there are other books out there. There's the Army Film Manual around first aid. There's a bunch of EMT books out there. But for most people, the American Red Cross First Aid Manual is still the best one. Get it, read it, use it. I know people who pack great first aid kits in their car, in their packs, and then they go on a trip with someone who knows very little about first aid. So they get hurt, so the people around them can't help them. Having this book available to them gives them a really heads up way of getting things done. The American Red Cross First Aid Manual. I'm putting these two books together. They had an impact on me. This is the National Outdoor Leadership School's Wilderness Guide, NOLS. This isn't the quote-unquote official instructor's guide, which I lost mine. This is really a good book on understanding how to use various kinds of equipment that you have. Whether that equipment is backpacking stuff or food, rationing it, looking at the weather. This book is the Outward Bound Instructor's Manual. This one is from a school that has since changed its name. But I think, what year was this? What year did I get this? I probably got this in 1982 or 83, right after it was revised. There are newer versions of these particular books, and they're great books to have. What makes these two good is not that you can be informed about how to do things, but they're good books. You're thinking about teaching someone else how to be informed, because it does go through what you need to do to keep people safe, including medical issues, including mental issues when you're out and about and away from your normal environment. I've used these particular things when I'm once at a baseball game and some other places where people were gotten ill or something, and I can come over and help them. These two books really help me think about how to do that, how to explain things to people, and how to convey what needs to happen. Once again, this is a book that doesn't tell you what to get or how to get it, but it does give you the skills and knowledge to enhance your everyday carry by prepping you for various conditions around you. For example, these books will talk about map and compass work. If you get lost, understanding how to be more conservationist eco-friendly, what to do when like you're face-to-face with animals. It is just really helping you to be with your EDC skills much more positively. So by integrating what's in here, you're able to convey that to others so that they can be helpful for you and themselves for those unexpected situations. It's the National Outdoor Leadership School Wilderness Guides, which is NOLS, and the Outward Bound in Instructor's Guide. These things are both for sale. They're just a little harder to get a hold of, but I'll put links to them in the description for you. How to Survive Anything by Lonely Planet is both very informative and fun. This is a perfect book for someone who is into their EDC and wants to know what might happen and what they can do with it. This is, if you just go through it, it goes how to survive a knockout punch, just randomly, the first week of college, how to survive that, how to survive a job interview, and it's how to survive losing your hair. This is a great book for just understanding the world around you and how you can be survived. Well, being interviewed on live TV, bachelorette party. There's all these things about what you need to survive in a day-to-day situation here. And it does make you laugh, but 90% of the information here is really good. It's one of these things where people just don't understand the situation, how to survive an earthquake. It's how you prepare for it, and then what you do when it does happen. There's so many different subjects here that you can just open up the book and then just get something out of it that you would like to know. This is a book that I've read from one end to the other, and I've laughed at a lot of it, but the information has come in handy. And it's, once again, Lonely Planet, How to Survive Anything, a visual guide to laughing in the face of adversity. Recently, I went out with my compass and I searched for some boxes, and I found them. This book is pretty dang old, some of the other books are, but understanding map and compass is a good idea. The last time I used a map and compass was when my wife and I hiked the Konzlaten Trail north of the Arctic Circle. Being able to understand that where magnetic north was compared to the North Pole makes a big difference when you're traveling in a very rural area, in a very rugged area of where there's no cell phones. We did have a GPS, and we could have turned that on, but we actually never used it. We actually went on a couple other trips where I never used our GPS. It was used for like backup. Nowadays, people have Google Maps on their phones. They have it on their watches. They can find things very well, but their ability to read maps are actually much less. This is a great book to learn how to read a map. And when I say things like, what does the legend say on the map, you know what I'm talking about. How does this help you with your everyday carry? Because once again, this book helps prepare you for those unexpected things that may happen, where you may be dropped in somewhere or abandoned. You need to find out where you are and where you need to go. If you have a roadmap, find the best direction to go in to get to a gas station or to get to a hotel or to get to someone. Now, by incorporating map and compass skills into your EDC, you will be better equipped to handle all kinds of navigational challenges. You feel more confident in your ability to stay found versus getting lost. Knowing how to read a topographical map can help you plan a more efficient routes around all kinds of potential hazards. This is Be an Expert with Map and Compass by Bjorn Kellstrom. 27 Critical Smartphone Apps for. This is one of those books that is by Damien Brindle. He's written a few other books that are primarily, you can get them on his website or at Amazon in the Kindle area. I'll have a link for that in the thing. This is a guide that highlights the importance of using free smartphone apps has vital tools. Now, we all have smartphones with us. We should be able to carry some of the apps that are important for our everyday carry or that supplement them. Those typically are navigation apps, first aid apps, weather apps, communication apps. In other words, what if the cellular service is down but you want to use Wi-Fi? There are lots of apps that you can make calls, text, email via Wi-Fi. Then there are some survival skills apps. If you have those on your phone, it'll help you when you're in that crunch kind of situations. You even can get apps that tell you how to sharpen a knife if that's something that you don't remember how to do. This book really emphasizes how these apps can significantly enhance your preparedness, safety, and effectiveness, making that smartphone of yours much more handy, much more indispensable tools for everyday carry. Integrating some of the apps that are recommended to your EDC ensures that you are ready to handle those unexpected challenges with confidence. Some of the things in the book are slightly dated, but generally speaking, he is on the right track. There are lots of apps that are very helpful to you. He has another book out that I found to be very nice reading for just casualness. That's 47 Easy DIY Survival Projects. And that you can find his book at rethinksurvival.com. The NRA step-by-step guide to gun safety is I need to be careful. I don't want to run afoul of the YouTube folks. The gun safety issue is a large one. I think people need to be safer with their guns. They need to put them in the right places. They need to store them in the right way. That was something that I was taught when I was in school, in junior high school. Most people appear to be taught by a relative or something to that effect versus going to a class or course or reading a series of books. In my opinion, that has led to a lot of guns being put in the hands of people who take them because they're easy to get. Those are many times young kids, people who steal them from homes, from people's business locations. Believe that practicing good gun safety and having good gun rules within your family is a great idea. There are courses that people can take, there are books that people can read. Having gun safety available would mean your everyday carry is more secure, thus you're more secure. It means that you understand your role with everyday carry. You understand how to use all the ingredients within your everyday carry. Please learn to shoot at a range, not in your backyard. Please learn all the essence of things that you can do to make sure that your weapon doesn't get into the hands of people that should not have it. The NRA step-by-step guide is a great thing to read to understand. I did an open AI piece on I asked what are the highly recommended everyday carry books. It gave me what I call the Rob books, and they're all really good books. I've looked at them. I haven't read them all, but I've looked at them all, and I just want to share them with you. Practical Guide to Everyday Carry Gear by Rob Redaboni. I'm only going to say that first one. The book offers a practical advice to selecting and using EDC gear, including handguns, knives, flashlights, etc. The Pocket Survival Guide to the Outdoors, compact guide that covers essential survival skills and tips. I have read that book. Don't particularly think it's a good book. There are better books. I think reading stuff by Tom Brown, reading even the Boy Scout book, I think would be better for you. Everyday Carry 1000 Items for Your Perfect EDC by Rob Raskin. That's a pretty good book. It is our starting point because of what it's about and the date of it. It is slightly outdated, but it'll help people get in the right direction. The EDC book, Everyday Carry Essentials for Modern Life, That one is less outdated, A Complete Guide to Everyday Carry Gear by Rob Winters. I know that Rob Winters has written a few books. That was one that I wasn't aware of, but I did look it up, and it seems to be a pretty good book. When I looked on the Gemini, the Google one, it suggested 3 books. The Survivalist Handbook, which is actually a very nice book. The SAS Survival Handbook. There are a lot of survival handbooks. There's a search, evade. I forget the other one. Search, evade, and something book that is really good. In the Lost Ways. The Lost Ways is much closer to like some of the books that I've mentioned. It is an older style book, but it helps you think about what would happen if you don't have some of the modern things that we have here in front of us. Always remember that the best EDC is really the ones that meet your personal needs.